call this meeting of the Southampton Town Board to order on this 22nd day of June, 2021. Please rise if you're able and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Let's join in a brief moment of silence as we keep in our thoughts and prayers all the men and women of our armed services that bravely defend our freedoms at home and around the world each day. We're going to pause in their memory, and after Tommy John arrives, as his father just passed away a few days ago, we're going to do another moment of silence in his honor. But let's reserve this one for our military. Thank you. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilman Lobstad.
Here.
Councilman Martell.
Here.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Scivone.
Okay, now Councilman Scivone is on the way. He's been dealing with personal matters with the passing of his father just on Sunday, so he will be joining us soon. So we will begin our meeting. Let me make a motion to approve the minutes from our regular town board meeting of June 8th, 2021. Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Before we do communications, let's do walk-ons. We'll add to our agenda. We'll need a unanimous vote of the four of us here to do this. 36-838 accepts the resignation of a contracts technician in the controller's office. 36-850 is the 12th warrant. 36-858, sponsored by Councilman Martell, authorizes the supervisor to execute a donation agreement for tick spraying at Forest Avenue Park in Hampton Bays. 36-862 is a resolution amending number 2021-539, payment of the 2021 pilots. And that's it. So I'll make a motion. Is there a second to walk those?
Second.
Four resolutions on, second by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that was unanimous, and that will be part of our agenda. We can take those up later. Let's, Tommy John Scivone is about to walk in. So we'll allow him to join us, and then we'll do. I thought I saw him about to enter, so. All right, so let's go Sunday, we'll do the communications.
Okay. The following communications have been received in my office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the town of East Hampton, a public hearing notice, Village of Sagaponack, public hearing notice, Village of Southampton, Zoning Board of Appeals, public hearing notices, Gin Lane and Southampton Village, and 75 Hetty Creek Lane. In the Village of West Hampton Beach, a Zoning Board of Appeals public hearing for 371 Dune Road, West Hampton Beach. Town Fire Districts, from the East Quad Fire District, a notice of resolution adopted subject to permissive referendum to expend $90,000 to purchase an outdoor electric sign, and the notice to bidders for the purchase of such sign. New York State liquor license, 30-day advance notice to local municipality for a new application located at 2 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. Financial disclosure statement filings were filed by the listed individuals, and letters, emails, and land use applications were received regarding the following. Chapter 107, balloons, CPF purchase of 18 Peconic Road, Shinnecock Hills, Planning Board application entitled Atlantic Golf Course Staff Housing, Planning Board application entitled Sag Harbor Antiques Fire Truck Museum, Suffolk County Transit On Demand Program, from the Planning Board application for site plan of Bridgehampton Commons Master Sign Plan, Zoning Board of Appeals applications, 38 Bayview Drive East, Noyak, and 57 Hampton Road in Noyak as well. Following bid openings took place, for Bay Avenue bulkhead replacement in East Quad on June 16th, dredge pipe and accessories, mobile ice cream truck for Ludlam Avenue Park, and mobile ice cream truck for Red Creek and Good Ground Parks, all on June 16th. The following reports were filed in my office, WSP, for the April 2021 status report for the Grove Industries Superfund site in Sag Harbor. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and please note that Councilman Scavone is present as well at our meeting. All right, I'm gonna ask everybody to rise one more time. Sunday was a very sad day for the Scavone family as the father of Councilman Scavone, Francis Scavone, passed away at age 86. And I know this is gonna be hard for you, but I'd like to ask you to lead us in a moment of silence, if you could.
Thank you, Supervisor. My dad was a good man, 86 years old, a veteran of the United States Navy. He was a 46-year member of the Sag Harbor Fire Department and a community member. He was a man who understood the value of hard work, love of family, and community service. And I'm proud to call myself one of his sons. And I appreciate his work for this moment of silence. So thank you.
We're all with you in our thoughts and prayers, and send all of our love to the Scavone family, and let's join together in a moment of silence. Thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
Do you want to share any weight information?
Yeah, so there'll be a viewing at tomorrow, Wednesday, and St. Andrew's Roman Catholic Church in Sag Harbor on Thursday.
Okay. All right, so we will go now to public hearings. We have 2 public hearings this evening. Somebody read the first public hearing notice.
Public hearing number 1, to accept a grant of conservation easement from Joseph F. Gaza for property to be maintained as open space located at Quion pursuant to Southampton Town Code 244-4, obtaining a development rights certificate, and 247 General Municipal Law of the State of New York.
All right, Planning Director Dave Wilcox will introduce us.
Good evening, Board and Supervisor, Madam Clerk. I distributed a little handout. It says public hearing number 1 on it. The first page is a key map that shows the location of this property that has applied for a development rights certificate. This is located north of Montauk Highway, east of Jeffrey Lane, south of the Long Island Railroad, and also, as you can see on the aerial, south of the county airport, and west of Peters Lane at the headwaters of the Aspetuck Creek in Quion. If you go to the second page, you can see a little more detail. The subject easement property consists of part of Suffolk County Tax Map 900-359, Block 1, Lot 22.1, and on your handout it is highlighted in yellow. It is owned by Joseph F. Gaza, and it consists of 73,398 square feet, or 1.68 acres. It's located in the CR 40 zoning district, consists of old-file map property at Quion. The proposed easement area has a development right allocation of 1.83495 development rights. Property is located in the town's freshwater wetland critical environmental area, the town's CPF Aspetuck Creek headwaters open space priority area, and also in the town's old-file map overlay district. If you go to the back side of that page, you can see all of the abutting and surrounding
publicly owned properties. There's quite a bit of town-owned land and Suffolk County land. All of the colored properties are publicly owned properties. So this easement would provide a physical easement connection between town-owned open space to the north and also town-owned open space to the south. It's not determined yet whether this property will be deeded to the town or well, they're proposing an easement, but there is a possibility that they might also deed it in the future as part of a
I
subdivision.
was gonna ask you whether that was the owner's intention, is to later donate the fee to the town.
I can let Mr. Gazza speak to that, but
And just
that's
from a stewardship perspective, it would be better to have all of it under the town's management.
totally agree. But for right now, they're proposing an easement. As the subdivision progresses with the planning board, it's possible that could be deeded to the town. So if there are no other questions, if the board has any questions for Mr. Gazza, or if he wants to.
He's up on the speaker list next, so.
Oh, okay. All right.
Any questions first for our planning director? All right, thank you, Dave. All right, Joe?
Yes. Good evening, town board members. My name is Joseph Gazza. I live in Quogue. I'm a real estate business. I'm also an attorney. And I have a map, not as fancy as Dave's, but I'd like to just put this up so everyone can see this when I'm addressing the board. I sort of specialize in the use and development of old filed maps within the town of Southampton. Those are maps that were approved 1900 to 1920 with little tiny lots that the planning board has a lot of trouble with and a lot of issues, and created about an inch of our zoning code to address those issues. I'm working with the planning board. I'm also working with Lisa Combrick of our community preservation department. And now I'm working with your board because I'm navigating through the process of utilization of my lots on the old filed map. Get my heat map again. Hope everyone can see this from back here. But in 1905, this is what the area of land looked like between Westhampton Beach and Peters Lane. It was called an old filed map. Someone had approximately 60 acres of land. They cut it up into these little tiny 20 by 100 lots. They created streets with a T-square on a drafting table in Manhattan, and they sold these lots to people all over the United States. So about, I guess it was 10 to 12 years ago, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Tidaldi in Quogue bought about, I'd say 85% of the map, of this map. And Mr. Tidaldi, with his consultants, went through the planning process of redevelopment of old filed map lots. And he eliminated all these lots and all these streets and turned it into a development that looks like this inside the red line. And he created, I think, 35 one-acre lots that comply with zoning. So he went through the process, created a nice road system. He also protected from development the area that is in the bed of the Aspatuck Creek, the headwaters. And unfortunately for Mr. Tidaldi, he didn't get the 6 acres down on the southeast corner of the map because I own that. So that's what we're talking about this evening. I have 6 acres of land left. It's the tail end of the map. And it's been a tough application to proceed with because it had limited access. The access to the street into Westhampton Beach, I forget the name of this street over here, Jeffrey Lane, was cut off when Mr. Tidaldi did his development. The access to the north, which was going to go out to Peters Lane, was cut off by the town because the town acquired a street which was supposed to connect into my land, and I lost access to the north. So, being the enterprising guy that I am, I negotiated with a neighbor who had a little over an acre on the Peters Lane, and I traded a lot for 30-foot access to get into my land. It's all on paper. We haven't completed the deed yet because we're waiting to get through the process with the town. But what I'm going to be left with is this 6-acre yellow portion of the property that's in a 1-acre zone, and I'm attempting to get 5 lots through the planning board. And those 5 lots, this might be a little hard to see, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which completely comply with every section of our code, with area, with width, with depth, and I can comply with the setbacks from the Aspetuck Creek, the wetlands, the buffers. It's been 3 years, but I'm at the tail end of the process. Now, because it's 1-acre zone and I have 6 acres, I don't need that extra acre. And because the zoning is what they call CR40, it's not even an acre, it's only 40,000 square feet. So I pick up a little bit of extra land on each lot, plus the extra land that I have, and all that extra land is squeezed into this dark green. And I don't need that for the development of this property into 5 lots, which is in compliance with all the code. So my intention,
And that yellow section, that would be on sort of the opposite side of Aspetuck Creek, too?
the Aspetuck Creek runs, it's on the west side, but it actually runs through a portion of the property.
So the 5 lots you're creating are sort of separated by Aspetuck Creek
That's correct.
from this piece.
That's correct.
So, okay.
So my attempt about maybe 6 months ago was to sever this extra land, this 73,000 square feet of land, almost 2 acres, and to donate it to the town, because I don't need it, can't get more than 5 lots, that's the limit, but it involved a subdivision to divide it, and I couldn't complete a subdivision with the planning department. It wasn't approved because it would be go through a different process. So I said, well, I don't need this land. I do need what can come off of this land, which is known as development rights, credits. And as Mr. Wilcox indicated, I get about 1 8/10 credits. So I could use those credits. I don't need them for my land. And I've offered a conservation easement to the town for this dark shaded green area. That's the subject of tonight's hearing before your board, whether you want to accept that as a donation of the conservation easement. Looking down the road, Lisa Combrick and I are in the process of negotiating for the town's acquisition of the lots. If the town acquires the lots, the additional area I chose as a crosshatch, that would also be placed in conservation easement, and the town would now own the lots, the recorded conservation easement for the green area, and the proposed conservation easement for the crosshatch area. Everything would be protected. So it's just a matter of money.
But you would still own the fee in that case? You'd own the underlying land, or?
If Lisa and I can reach an agreement with the appraisers and your board, the town will acquire everything. It will acquire the fee title to the land, subject to the conservation easement.
Okay.
But to start, to get the process going, I want to proceed, I'm going to offer the conservation easement now, because I don't need that portion of the land. It ties in with land to the north and the south, which is already owned by the town and the county. So it makes a connection.
Kind of fills a hole in the donut, essentially, between.
Sort of a hole in the donut. I have a little aerial map. I don't know if you can see this, but it shows the Aspetuck Creek if you look at it
Yeah, we can see it.
closely, maybe you want me to pass it around? Or?
You have the aerial.
You have it, okay. It's a good connection, and it's a good start. And hopefully Lisa and I can proceed and bring this down the road, and the town can eventually get the whole property, or the town can allow me to have 5, I'm gonna call them affordable home lots, because I'll be marketing them at, in the neighborhood of $350,000 a piece
For the
And-
land.
for the land,
For lots.
but fully improved with road, public water, underground electric, all the items required by the planning board for this type of a cute little division in an area that's, it's not a multi-million-dollar area. It's a starter home area, but I think that that's necessary, and there's a lot of people that are looking for home ownership on a starter home. I have a builder that can produce a home, small home, 1,000 square feet to start, for about $200,000. If I find a buyer for the lot at $350,000, so they can be in a house for $550,000. To, a home that they own, that they can take pride and ownership in our town. And I have it all figured out that their monthly mortgage payment, which would include taxes, would be about $2,000 a month. So instead of paying $2,000 a month in rent to someone, they could own a 1-acre lot encumbered with the conservation easement. That's the planning, that's what you have to do. But they could have a small home, a starter home, and they could be in the West Hampton Beach School District, which is very important if you have a child, and they're close to the village, and you're in the middle of our town. So tonight's hearing, do you want to accept the conservation easement on this to get the ball rolling, to get the connection between two town preserves, with the hope that Lisa and I can proceed down the road and make this town ownership rather than just preservation for wildlife?
Joe, this property you're looking to donate, or that's not a required open space as part of the subdivision for the, I have
No.
Dave and our planning board attorney both shaking their head now, so,
No.
okay.
I'm making an offer to help the process along. I've learned over the years to try to work with the departments, get closer to the finish line in baby steps. And this is one of the steps.
Any questions for Mr. Gaza? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do we need to hear from Kathleen? No?
She's not here on the other one.
Lisa, have we heard this from you?
We are waiting for the second appraisal on this.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to be heard at this public hearing? I don't see any reason to keep the record open, so I'll make a motion to close the hearing. Seconded by Councilman Olivier, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gaza.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you read the second public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 2, to consider authorizing the alienation and discontinuance of approximately 2.9 acres of Community Preservation Fund, CPF, parkland, in furtherance of the Good Ground Road extension in exchange for the encumbrance and dedication of approximately 3.28 acres of property to be used as parkland within the hamlet of Hampton Bays, town of Southampton.
All right, and Kathleen Murray, Deputy Town Attorney, will introduce this.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, members of the board. As you may recall, on February 25th, 2020, by local law number 1 of 2020, the Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District was adopted. The purpose of this optional overlay district is to make mixed use and compact development possible within a form-based code, which includes a significant amount of design and renewable energy requirements to achieve the vision set forth by the community. Notably, the implementation of the overlay district represents years of planning for economic development in the Hampton Bays downtown area, which will complement Good Ground Park and serve as a catalyst for both investment and revitalization in the area. To that end, the extension of Good Ground Road is recommended by the town's secret assessment in order to provide a relief valve for traffic pressure on Main Street and to serve as an alternative emergency route. So the purpose of the local law before you is to authorize the town to make a necessary land swap in furtherance of those purposes, that is the extension of Good Ground Road. Specifically, the town seeks to alienate and discontinue as parkland 153 West Montauk Highway, which is approximately 2.9 acres in furtherance of this extension. That's that parcel right there. In exchange, the town proposes to encumber and dedicate as parkland 20 South Valley Road in the hamlet of Hampton Bays, which is approximately 13.28 acres, and that's this parcel right here. By swapping your CPF parcel, that is 153 West Montauk Highway, with the proposed parcel, the town is cleansing this parcel, so to speak, and removing any CPF and parkland restrictions that were on it. By doing this, the town can then take steps towards subdividing this parcel and swapping the top portion of it with the adjacent diner property. If you look, this middle map shows a little bit of what we're talking about. So if you allow this, you would subdivide it here. And it would look like this, and then you would swap the diner property with this. Your orange shading is the proposed road. Because the town seeks to alienate and discontinue lands purchased with CPF funds pursuant to Town Law 64E10 and Town Code 140-7, this alienation is subject to three things. First, it's subject to the express authority of an act of the state legislature. Second, the adoption of a local law, such as the one before you, by a supermajority vote of the board. And third, the approval of this local law at a mandatory referendum to be held at the November 2nd general election. As it relates to number one, that is the express authority of an act of the state legislature, Assembly Bill A6668B and Senate Bill S5985B were both passed in the Assembly and the Senate on June 8th. So we're waiting for the governor to sign those laws and those bills into law. And as it relates to number three, from a timing perspective, any ballot proposition must be delivered to the BOE by August 2nd in order to be placed on the November 2nd general election ballot. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. And as you can see, also here is your Director of Planning, Dave Wilcox, and your CPF Manager, Lisa Combrink, in case they can help you.
Thank you. Just, I guess, just a little bit more. So this this town goal of being able to alleviate traffic congestion through a secondary road along the railroad tracks has been something that town planners have been seeking for a long time. There's really only one logical spot for that road to reach Montauk Highway, and that is at the main intersection. People may know it from the diner, the abandoned diner, or Macy's, Panera. But in terms of traffic flow, the ideal location would be to have the road tie into that intersection. Of course, the diner is there, and we hate to lose a commercial property, so the idea is basically sliding the diner a little bit to the east to make room for this road, but that does move it onto a section of property that was in part acquired through community preservation funds. So as a trade-off, we would create a much larger piece of parkland, as well as some green space on the west side of the new road. And the road itself would be a wooded road, kind of headed south until it reached the railroad tracks, and then headed east and came out as Good Ground Road, an extension of Good Ground Road, where the road that the railroad station is located on. So it's really, if we're able to move forward with this, it's really up to the public to decide if it likes this idea. It would be the entire public, not just the Hampton Bays community. Our goal is just, simply to try to address community needs. And anyone who is familiar with Hampton Bays knows that there already are some serious problems with traffic congestion. And this road could provide some really important relief as people try to reach their homes. Let's say you live out in Rampasture or, you know, close to the bridge. This is a nice potential way to bypass some of the downtown traffic. Anyway, with that being said, does anybody have any questions for, we would have 2 public hearings on this one, and we have one more scheduled. There may be some individuals on Zoom, and we will check there soon. But I want to make sure that the town board has a chance to ask any questions of myself or Deputy Town Attorney Murray.
Yes, I do. Good evening, Mr. Murray. This may be a question for you or Mr. Wilcox, I'm not sure, but I know that there was significant public input in the development of the Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District. Was this road or a machination of this road from Good Garden Road part of those public hearings at that time?
Yes, it was. This road also was contemplated in the seeker findings that were done for the Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District in the Form-Based Code, and actually indicated that this road would be necessary to mitigate some of the impacts that would be caused by the implementation of the overlay district. This road concept, if you look at the 1970 master plan, there's a map that shows a road right there. So as far back as 1970, this road was contemplated as something that would be needed at least in the future, if not at that time, to alleviate the known anticipated traffic impacts that would occur in Hampton Bays as it grew and developed. So, but to answer your question, yes, it was addressed in the most recent seeker documents for the downtown overlay district.
Good, and it had early community input. That's really.
There was tremendous community input.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's carried through the 2010 amendments to the comprehensive plan, I believe, was that? Am I correct in that?
The corridor study.
Corridor study?
Yes,
Yeah.
the concepts were initiated originally in 1970, but then they were carried forward into the 1999 and 2010 updates.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
One additional question
Sure.
from Councilman Lostak
Yes, please, for Kathleen.
for Kathleen.
So just for clarification, and we talked about this earlier, I just want you to clarify that this type of alienation is legal under CPF, state and local rules.
Yes, subject to the 3 conditions that I mentioned: the act of the state legislature, a supermajority vote by this town board of a local law, and then approval by the voters at a mandatory referendum. Subject to those 3 things, yes, that's the procedure that the law allows.
Okay, and thank you. And again, just to confirm, even if we go through this process, we are not obligated to build this road unless the town board decides at a later date that that's what they want to do based on further public input.
Right, so this would be authorizing that alienation, and that further would be in furtherance of the Good Ground Road extension. It would be authorizing it, but it wouldn't be requiring it.
Kathleen, could I ask you to go back to the map too, because I want to make something else clear, and I would just ask you to point out a couple things. So, the area to the west of this new road, which is currently part of the diner property, can you just point to that long rectangle, just the other side, not to the west of it, the other direction. That one, yes.
Yeah.
So that piece, although it's not parkland, I believe it's everyone's intention to see that as a green space. So that would be, that would be wooded, and we could put the Welcome to Hampton Bays sign that's currently by the CPF portion, and the garden, I think that's there, maintained by the Beautification Association, could all go on that piece. Now, Kathleen, can I ask you to point to the piece that we're alienating, the long rectangle?
On this map?
Yes. So only the front portion of it would become part of the diner property. The back portion where the road is going through, you'll notice, a section of it, it will no longer be parkland, and question whether it ever was parkland in the back portion. But it's also our intention to keep that wooded back there too, so only the portion abutting Montauk Highway would be for the diner property. The rear portion that's not being used for the road would also be wooded. And if you combine those two together, you certainly have as much woodlands as you had before, plus this additional open space that the legislature, the state assembly is recognizing for the swap. So I just wanted to point that out, that there's a significant amount of green space associated with this idea. The new diner property will of course now be on the corner, and it'll have a nice safe way to get in and out of that property, have a curb cut on this new road as well as a curb cut on Montauk Highway. So, there are certain advantages obviously to a commercial property that has two street frontages. And the owners of that property have been, I think, very patient and also very cooperative in working with us. Meanwhile, they continue to pay property taxes on the diner property, which they pay every year. So right now that diner is in a state of disrepair. But the property owners are allowing the town, they understand our desire to try to create a road. It's unfortunate that it goes right through the building there, but that building likely would have to get torn down anyway. So I just wanted to provide that additional detail.
And I just want to offer one more thing. In my continuing discussions with Kathleen, she made a suggestion that I thought was interesting, and I hope it's okay that I share with the board here. I think you all got an email from Deputy Supervisor Sapone about a potential survey that I thought maybe we could put out to see how the town and the residents, hopefully of the hamlet of Hampton Bays, feel about it. It's just a quick 4-question survey and a place for comments. So maybe if people have questions and concerns, we can learn what those are and try to address those.
Okay, I have no problem with that, but we do have these 2 public hearings, and anyone who wants to be officially a part of the record should try to send a letter in or appear at this, that the survey, I suppose we could submit it into the record, but it typically would not be part of the hearing record. So if somebody had strong feelings about it, they certainly should make their comments known in this forum as well. And, I guess it's sort of how you ask the question too is important here too. So, some people may have strong feelings. They think another road will be more traffic. Some people understand the intention of trying to alleviate traffic. So,
Well, we do, I mean, Frank made it up. It's a pretty straightforward question with a spot for comments.
okay,
It was circulated.
okay,
Yeah. So take a look, let me know what you think.
okay, thank you. Or thank you.
Thank you,
Does
Kathleen.
Does the survey convey the connection between this road and the planning of the overlay district? I guess that's a question that I'll ask Frank.
I don't think it does. What I saw, it didn't mention that.
Sure.
Right, this is part and parcel to
Yeah,
that.
sure.
That whole, okay.
Yeah, it should be a tie-in.
How it ties in, as opposed to.
Right, it's not just a one-off
I think there is a map, there's a map associated with the
Yes,
survey.
there is, yeah.
scheme.
All right, so let's,
So
first let me go to the audience here. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this? Okay, so Charles, we are doing a hybrid meeting. We're trying to make the board accessible as possible during this pandemic period. Though things are getting better, clearly, we're here at Town Hall. If you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask. But Charles, is there anyone via Zoom that wishes to be heard?
I see no hands at this time.
Okay, thank you. We have received some letters, so. Okay. What I'd like to do then is we do have literally another hearing scheduled as part, right, Kathleen?
You would have to schedule it. You would have to adjourn this
It
to
wasn't
July
it part of the original notice, though, that there'd be a hearing on 2 dates?
We discussed it, but no, you would adjourn this hearing to July 13th.
Okay, so it wasn't in the hearing notice that there's 2 hearings on?
The
Okay.
hearing notice was for this evening.
I know we talked about doing it that way. All right, so what I'd like to do then is to adjourn the public hearing until, I'm sorry,
July 13th.
July 13th. The record's open, obviously, for written comments, and then for oral testimony on July 13th, that is a Tuesday. What time is that meeting, 1 o'clock?
1 p.m.
So 1 p.m. and we will do it here at Town Hall. Would you like to continue the hybrid model for that meeting? Probably. Okay, let's do,
We have it.
yeah, we'll try to do hybrid for that meeting as well if we can, so that people, from the Hampton Bays area might not have to drive out here if they want to comment on it. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. And just a note that I will probably be asking you to take action on that day, if not at a special meeting, maybe 2 days later, because if you are inclined to do this, we have to get it to the BOE with a Spanish translation by August 2nd.
Okay, so we're running out of time. Okay. All right, so I'm making a motion to adjourn the public hearing to July 13th at 1 p.m.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Okay, we're gonna go to public, that's the last public hearing, we're gonna go to public portion. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in public portion? All right, no one in our studio audience? How about in our Zoom land, our home audience? Charles, anybody who wishes to be heard in public portion?
I see no hands.
If you are watching this via Zoom and you wish to be heard.
Oh, I have one. I have a hand. How about that?
Okay, there's somebody out there. All right, can we bring them in?
They are on their way.
It's like making contact with the lunar module or something.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm just curious if there's any,
I'm gonna ask you to start by identifying yourself for our record.
absolutely. I'm Tina Jalayer, Jalayer. And I'm here in case there was issues to be heard about the Old Farm Road repaving where my mother lives. We discussed it at 2 prior meetings. I just wanted to be sure not to miss something if I was needed tonight.
Can I ask you, since you had some initial concerns, are you comfortable now with the arrangement that's been worked out with some of the?
Absolutely. Everybody's been terrific and we're both very grateful. And Mr. Kremer, I'm assuming at some point we'll get paperwork done. So I only came because I didn't want to miss anything, actually.
Well, I take it you support the creation of this road improvement district?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
It's needed.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll say good night then. Thank you very much, everybody.
For watching.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay, Charles, anyone else?
No other hands.
The next exciting episode? No one else?
No one else. No one else.
All right, make a motion to close public portion. Second. Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, public portion is closed. All right, we're gonna move on to resolutions, and let me stop for a second. Ask Councilman Bouvier because I know there's 2 people here who are interested in one particular resolution, right? So do you wanna take this on page 39, resolution
Sure, we can take
652 out of order? Page 39, so Councilman Bouvier is making a motion to take 652 and 21 out of order. I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. John, you wanna read it?
Read the resolution. Town Board Resolution 2021-652, resolution of adoption to amend Town Code Chapter 107 entitled Balloons by prohibiting the sale and or distribution of certain balloons.
Second.
Councilman Bouvier, we need to insert number 21, as this will be local law number 21 throughout the resolution.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Does they have to amend it from there?
So, I see.
There's a blank there.
Yeah,
There is a blank, and we can't number it until you actually adopt it, because there may be another law that comes in before it, so.
So you want to
Get
do
ahead of
local law
ourselves.
so you want me to
21?
amend it first on the floor for
Sure.
local law, okay?
All right, so we're gonna,
Yeah. I need a second.
so you make your motion to amend to add the
Add
number
the
21.
21 to local law of 2021.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilor Scrivoni, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now you want to make a motion to adopt as amended, and you've already read it.
Right.
So there's a,
Several times.
and there was a motion and a second, I believe, by Councilman Martell. Sunday, did you get those?
I have, Councilman Scrivoni on the amendment
So,
Second on amendment, Councilman Martell
of the resolution.
on the resolution, so on the motion, I don't have a lot to say on this. I know, John, I know you've been working on this. I know that you are not only environmentalist, but you are a diver. And,
well, let's clarify that, I dive underwater.
scuba diving. Right, you're not diving off a high platform, but I know you're a, professional scuba diver. I walk the beach a lot, and I do see a lot of these balloons, and, I've seen the effects on marine life, and I have been struggling with this because I'm also a small business person, and the last thing I wanna do is hurt small business, particularly after a year where there was like no special events, and probably people didn't sell a lot of balloons, particularly for special events, and trying to find this balance, between supporting our local businesses and prohibiting an activity that is really detrimental to marine life. And I know we did pass a law that I wholeheartedly supported to prohibit the intentional release of these balloons. I was sort of hoping that somehow there would be less balloons, and maybe there's been some public consciousness that has arisen about how bad these things can be for the environment. We heard from a lot of people, overwhelmingly. We did a public survey on our website, significant support, first of all, significant understanding of the environmental impacts of these balloons. Overwhelming people understood that they were bad for the environment, and a significant support for banning the sale. It is a big step, mind you, to tell somebody you can no longer sell something. We heard from one store owner who,
Well,
Yeah.
sorry, let me clarify, what we're saying is not to sell lighter than air balloons.
right, yeah, that's what the something that they can't sell is the lighter than air balloons. There's lots of other things they can sell. And I know there's a trend around the world. There's no doubt that more and more communities, particularly coastal communities, are doing these prohibitions. Whole countries, I believe, are doing these prohibitions. It is certainly the direction that things are going. But we did have a woman here who is in the balloon business, Hampton Balloon, and I am gonna support this. I am, but I do wanna reach out to any businesses that feel that they are impacted, their business model is going to be impacted by this prohibition. To work with them, to try to see, how their business models can be modified, what can we as a town do to help them stay in business, even strengthen their business? And I do think that there are ways, and there's gonna be a full year between when this law goes into effect and when this prohibition actually occurs. And I hope that we will all reach out to those small businesses and listen to what they have to say and see if we can find responsible things that they can do to improve their business models in the face of this looming prohibition on the sale of lighter than air balloons. So I just wanted to put that out to you, that I'd like to, obviously you to be a big part of that conversation. And it's hard for me to take an action that I know some small businesses feel is detrimental, but I have to look at the greater good here, and the bigger picture. And we are a coastal community everywhere. We're surrounded by water. And, we have to be good neighbors, not just to the citizens and to business, but also to, our marine life, the sea turtles, the seals, all the marine life that depend upon us to be good stewards of the environment. So I applaud your efforts. I just wanted to put that out there, that this has not been an easy decision for me, but ultimately I am coming around to supporting the prohibition.
And I appreciate that. I can respond quickly. We did build in several sets of compromises into the law. The biggest one is not enacting it until we adopt it. That will be a year from now. So there's lots of opportunity to be able to work with those business owners. The other issue is the cost of healing, which is rising, and is becoming more, no pun intended, is causing more and more of eating into the margin, if you will. And many other communities have adopted that. We have a unique issue here, as you mentioned, that we're a coastal community. So we're dealing with other problems that many other communities might not deal with, because we have this particular type of product ending up in water and killing the fish and adding to our waste stream and causing all sorts of problems. I know Mr. Martell struggles with that as well, and I do too. I think we all do. So I appreciate your comments very much. But we have a year, and I think there are some creative solutions and things that we can help to work and mitigate that as well.
Yeah, I agree with both parties here. I mean, nobody wants to hurt a small business, especially during a pandemic, and I struggled with that for a long time. I want to commend Dieter and Tip for my cross-examination many times and getting the facts straight. It was a tough road for me, and I hope that when helium balloons are not available to the public, that we do support our small businesses. We purchase those alternatives or other decorations that we can, and we really get back to supporting those businesses in our community. I will have to say that running the East End cleanup the last couple of years, the amount of balloons and string that we picked up off the beaches is tremendous. It was mind-boggling to me that we could collect that much in one day. And in the end, we are the stewards of our community. We have to take care of the wildlife, and it was just kind of an easy in the end to say, we have to do this, we have to protect this out there.
And I guess I'll say a few words as well. So I have some concerns about the legislation as it relates to local businesses. Right now, our economy stinks. We're just coming out of a pandemic. Supplies are getting more expensive every day for small businesses and everybody else. And people are having difficulty to find workers. Another struggle for businesses, where I know that this has a year until it becomes effective. SBA is going to be calling in the COVID loans starting in 2022. Many small businesses won't be operating under their pre-pandemic conditions for perhaps many years. I know personally, my own business, I'm not going to be back to normal in a year. I just don't feel that now is the time to place another burden on our local businesses when customers only have to drive to Riverhead to purchase helium balloons, come back to Southampton, and potentially improperly dispose of them here. So yes, balloons blow, I totally agree. And yes, protect the environment, but not at the cost of struggling local businesses at this time. And I'd just like to clarify, I think we'd said that it's not a balloon ban, as many of the letters we received implied. It's a helium-filled balloon ban, so people can still buy air-filled balloons here in Southampton and improperly dispose of them, as perhaps they improperly dispose of cigarette butts and plastic bottles that we find all over the place. I appreciate all the work you guys put into it, and you, John. I appreciate you bringing it forward, but based on those reasons and just at this time, I can't support it. But I hope that we can do something to work together to help those small businesses make it through this.
Good, well, you just volunteered, thank you.
I'm in, absolutely.
You know, John, we said it at the first hearing too, that we hope in the not so distant future that the county steps up and does this countywide ban.
Yep.
So it's
Scale
not
roll.
just us.
There's actually two legislations pending, which may make it move in some ways. But, you know, the release issue, and that was Councilwoman Lobstad's initial legislation, was the intentional release, which did not seem to result in much change in that. And I appreciate your comments very much on that. And I'm hoping that, you know, we can find a way to do that. And I know a lot of people talk about education and those sorts of things, but in this case, the source of this is a lighter than air gas that's taking these balloons of great travels, causing all sorts of problems, waste stream to animal life, to power poles, to electrical outages, and
And we can agree to disagree at this point
Absolutely.
on this minute details, but I think we all agree that balloons blow.
As I said, I do have some ideas, ways that we can work with some of the small businesses to, you know, recoup potentially some of the losses they might incur. And I'm happy over the next year to discuss some of those things with you. But Councilman Scrivoni, do you want to weigh in on this too?
Certainly. I support this resolution, and I appreciate Councilman Bouvier bringing it forward. And I think that it speaks volumes that similar legislation had been passed by coastal communities. It is my hope that the towns of Riverhead and Brookhaven follow suit and pass similar legislation. And then hopefully the county of Suffolk and who knows, maybe the state of New York. A lot of concerns here. Marine life, and not only that, the breakdown of plastics into microplastics. We talked about what some of the foil balloons do to our infrastructure and power lines. I mean, it's kind of an aside, but I think it's important. I think it's a drawdown on our infrastructure, and it costs money to fix those things. But really, for me, it is an environmental choice. We are a coastal community. We have to protect our waters. You know, I fully believe that the balloons that are in our waters probably came from Pennsylvania. I know this, or where, I don't mean to pick on Pennsylvania, but, you know, places west up here, and they come here, and then balloons released here or somewhere out in the Atlantic Ocean, and they're on their way to Ireland or something like that. But I mean, this is an important statement from the town of Southampton to the community, saying that lighter than air balloons should not be part of our society and our culture. And you know what? It's a small step to move in that direction. I believe that's where we should be going. So I support the legislation.
well, and I would like to thank the Sustainability Committee in particular, in particular Tip Brolin, Edson Brolin, who is an erudite engineer who knows what he's talking about, and we've had many, I can't remember how many conversations we've had about this issue, and I wish everyone, you know, you talk about education, I wish everyone could sit in some of these meetings and learn some of the impacts that this has. I think Councilman Scioni alluded to some of that, but it's a much broader topic than this, which we're trying to do one thing at a time. Hopefully we can influence other communities, as you said, to help us with that problem, because it is a pervasive problem. It's everywhere. So I just wanted to thank you, Dieter, thank you, Tip, very much for being the ramrod behind all of this and making it all happen. So thank you very much.
We may be the first in Long Island to do this, but I don't think we'll be the last.
I don't think so.
East Hampton is right behind
Yeah, I
us.
think East Hampton is very close, and I think other communities are also looking at this, and possibly some of the villages will follow suit. So, look, the Southampton Village was the first with the plastic bag ban, the single-use plastic bag, and now it's state, right? It kept growing, the county, state.
And we have a lot of energy goals and lots of other things we got ahead of us, so.
But I do, once again, my door is open. I personally plan to reach out to some of the affected businesses and see how we can help serve them. terms of, increasing sales in other areas to make up for whatever they may lose out in helium balloon sales. And I do have some, very specific ideas in that regard.
I think it would be great if people couldn't run to Riverhead and get balloons. I hope that the county does pass it and
Yeah, that was kind of the hope, and that was actually part of the delay, but so far it hasn't happened. So I'm hoping perhaps that if we pass this tonight, this will hopefully bring other townships along and other villages and so forth.
Okay. All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye.
at this time, no.
One of opposition, Councilor Lofstad, abstentions. Okay, so it's a four yeas, one nay, and the law passes.
Thank you, board. Thank you, guys.
Lisa, you here for anything in particular?
I just wanted to make sure the one walk-on resolution,
We can take
regarding
that out of
pilots.
order. And the person in the back, is there a particular resolution you're here for?
No, but I just wanted to thank you for any influence you used on keeping our movie theater in Hampton Bays.
Is this state?
It's open.
It's open.
I can't take any credit for that.
The goal was good, the names are anonymous.
So, okay, Lisa, what is it's a walk-on resolution?
Right, regarding the pilot program.
It's the fourth one.
All right, so I'll make a motion to take that out of order. It's resolution number 36862, amending resolution number 2021-539, for payment of 2021 pilots. So make a motion to take that out of order.
Page.
It's in the walk-on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Second by Councilor Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and Lisa, I might need you up here to explain this, but I will make a motion to approve 36862, amending resolution number 2021-539 for payments of 2021 pilots. We had already passed this. I don't think the total number has changed, the distribution has changed slightly.
What was the amendment?
Lisa, can you talk us through what this is?
Sure, Lisa Comber, Community Preservation Fund Manager. When the original resolution that you approved, I think at your last meeting, was prepared, the allocation between the school districts was incorrect. It was taken, there was a table and the wrong numbers were put into into that table that you approved. So when the controller's office reviewed the payment for the school districts this week, we discovered that the wrong numbers were put into the final column. The number that's being released from the CPF fund remains the same. It's just the allocation between the various school districts is lower than it was on the original resolution. So these are the correct numbers. It's the third column on the resolution.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that from here, I don't know.
The bottom line is the same. It's just the split between the
distribution amount is the same, it's just
distribution
the
is
way it's
different, right?
distributed.
So we wanted to make sure that was corrected today so that those payments could be sent out this week.
Can I ask, I probably should know the answer to this, but I see in some areas there's ambulances, in some areas there's fire protection district, but not in all areas. I guess that's based on the fire district and how it's funded, or?
I think the law provides which districts are eligible, so that's, that's the list that we are given.
So like Hampton Bays, the school and the library, I see get an allocation, but the ambulance and the fire department do not?
If that's how the list is prepared, then that's correct.
Okay. All right, any other questions? And this, that total aggregate amount, that's hitting the 10% cap that year or no?
It is hitting the cap, yes.
Because that year, this is based on 2019,
It's based on 2019, right?
which was a lower year for
Right,
CPF.
Right, so it does hit the 10%, yes.
Okay, so we can expect the next year to be a higher amount,
That's correct.
or not necessarily, it depends on how much land is taken off the tax rolls too.
Well, right, and usually the preliminary figures are, I think, prepared in the spring, as far as how the pilot money will be
But the way the
distributed.
program works, it doesn't necessarily mean that 10% of all CPF revenues will be used in this pilot
That's correct,
program.
it's up to 10%.
Up to 10, so.
No more than 10%.
If all the properties that were taken off the tax rolls were on the tax rolls and we reimbursed for those and it didn't add up to 10%, we wouldn't use the full 10%.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in this particular
We
year,
did use
we hit it.
10%.
Okay.
We did, yes.
Great. Any other questions about this?
This has been reviewed by the controller's office.
Yes, it has, they actually brought it to my attention, we're treating it as a Scrivener's error when the numbers were typed, it was just the wrong column was inserted into that, so
Okay.
we're just correcting it.
I know we have an internal auditor and
The
Yeah, I-
controller's office reviewed it.
yes.
Yeah, because I wanted to look at copies, but I'm having a little trouble making the calculation here. So I just wanted to see what the others were. But we,
You added up the third column, on the old resolution, it was more than the numbers.
Right.
That's what we fixed.
that's what it was,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask you just another question? Is it only CPF properties or does it include other like state properties or county acquired lands?
No, I don't have the legislation with me,
So you don't.
I don't know, but I will check that for you, yes.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you, Lisa.
Okay, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
so, Cindy, was there a motion to approve and a second?
You put it forward and you had a second and then that's fine.
That
Went
was,
to discussion.
that was to take it out of order, but there was a motion also then to approve after the motion to take it out of order?
No,
No.
you did not, we brought these on, we didn't
All right, so I'm
vote
gonna
to
make
take out
a,
of order,
no, we did make a motion to take it out of order.
but you didn't vote on it, is what I'm saying.
You didn't make a motion to approve, I guess.
All right. But you have a motion to take it out of order, a second, and a vote to take it out of order?
Not a vote, just a second.
All right,
Julie lost.
okay, all in favor of taking it out of order?
Aye.
Right, okay.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Now I'll make a motion to approve,
Second?
seconded by Councilman Martell. Any additional discussion? Okay, this is the old one, Joan, that you bring?
No, this is the old one, I just wanted to make sure, because when I added it up last time, it was wrong. And it's still the same bottom number.
Same bottom number.
Okay.
It's an Excel spreadsheet, I'm sure, so it's probably adds up.
Well, this didn't, that was the problem.
Well, yeah,
Column 3 did not add up to this number, that's what, this number, that's why it was changed.
okay, now you wanna check the math, or?
No, I just did, so that's
Okay.
why I was just
All right, so
asking.
there's a motion and a second to approve, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, so,
Engineering.
so we're going, is any resolution you're waiting for? Or we just
I'm just observing.
here for the ride? Okay. So sometimes we take things out of order, so to make, so they don't have to wait all night.
Have you completed discussing the Good Ground Road in Hampton Bays?
Yeah, if you're going to speak up, but we're done with public portion, the answer is yes. So the Good Ground Road discussion, we did adjourn the hearing to July 13th. We're gonna have another hearing on that matter, and that will be at 1 PM on the 13th, and the written record is open throughout, and then you can also watch the conversation if you wish. We had a presentation about it. This recording will be available through the town's website. Okay? All right, so we're gonna move on in the agenda now to Resolution 618. This is Councilman Stevens.
Town Board Resolution 618 of 2021. This is to amend Town Board Resolution 2020-1006 to accept a donation for the garden area at the Flanders Community Center. And
Is there a second?
Second, sorry, I'm co-sponsor, second.
on the motion, right, and co-sponsored by Councilman
Co-sponsor,
Bouvier.
secretary.
Right, and this is a donation from a young man from the West Hampton Beach area, Andrew Mastrol. He's a member of our youth and government group, and he, along with James, have really put together some very interesting laws over the past 2 years, and he is very much involved in our youth program, and this is part of his Life Scout service project, so I'm glad to see him moving up in scouting in other areas of life. So way to go, Andrew. I'm proud to sponsor this along with Councilman Bouvier.
Congratulations.
All right, so John, you're seconding?
I am.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 619 of 2021, authorizing beach parking lots repairs from Suffolk County contract with Rosemark Contracting Incorporated.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scivone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 620 of 2021, and this is to authorize the supervisor to amend the contract with Cablevision Lightpath.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 621 of 2021, authorizes the supervisor to enter into agreement with A. Martin Petrovich, Professor of Horticulture, to review the 2021 groundwater monitoring reports, annual superintendent's report, and management of the Bridge Golf Course.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 622 of 2021, authorizes the supervisor to enter into an agreement with A. Martin Petrovich, Professor of Horticulture, to review the 2021 groundwater monitoring reports of the Shabonic Golf Course.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scivone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 623 of 2021, authorizes the supervisor to execute a contract with the Southampton Animal Shelter Foundation, Inc., to operate and manage the Southampton Town Animal Shelter and Adoption Center.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-624, authorizes the supervisor to sign a contract amendment for Waste Zero to supply and distribute garbage bags.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scivone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 625 of 2021, authorizes the supervisor to sign an agreement with Southampton Hospital for production assistance with the show Your Health Matters, to be broadcast on Sun 20 TV.
Second.
All seconded by Councilman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 626 of 2021, authorizes the supervisor to sign contract extension for cold patch pavement repair material with Black Gold Industries LLC.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scivone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 627 of 2021, authorizes the supervisor to sign contract amendment with Intergraph Corporation, doing business as Hexagon Safety and Infrastructure, for computer-aided dispatch software for the town's police department.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scivone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 628 of 2021, authorizes the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Hayduck Engineering LLC for professional engineering services in connection with the preparation of a map and plan report for the formation of a sewer district within the Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 629 of 2021, authorizes the supervisor to sign a professional services contract with Hayduck Engineering LLC to prepare an application to the Suffolk County Department of Health Services in connection with the sewage treatment plant within the Hampton Bays Downtown Overlay District.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scivone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Board Resolution 2021-630 authorizes the supervisor to execute a 2021 cultural arts and recreation grant for Central Park Zone Denmark Scope Summer Camp Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-631 authorizes the supervisor to execute a 2021 ambulance services grant for WHR Charities. I'm suggesting corporate.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-632 authorizes the supervisor to execute a consulting contract with Pace Analytical Services to provide lab analysis services to the Department of Municipal Works, Division of Waste Management.
Seconded. Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 633 of 2021, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract extension with Greenway USA for Flying Point Beach Comfort Station renovation.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-634, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell, authorize the supervisor to execute a lease agreement with Quadient for IX5AF mail machine.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 635 of 2021 authorizes the supervisor to execute all contractor indemnity agreements for the town.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 636 of 2021, authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement to renew the town's maintenance agreement with Prentice Excella for Minitrack and e-boardroom. Second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021, -637, co-sponsored with Councilwoman Lobstaff, authorizes the supervisor to sign the 2021 East Quad Summer Concert Series agreement.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 638 in 2021, awards RFP for the Brownfield Cleanup Program, remedial site investigation for Damascus landfill to D&D Engineering and Architects, PC.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 639 of 2021, recall and amend resolutions 589 of 2021 and 1088 of 2020, and rescind resolution 588 of 2021.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-640 is 2021 notice of bidders for supply and distribution of garbage bags and distribute garbage bags. I'm sorry.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 641 of 21, authorize the issuance of refunding bonds. This is going to require, I think, a roll call.
Yes, it
So,
does.
let me get a second first.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Supervisor Schneiderman,
Yes.
Councilman Lofstad,
Yes.
Councilman Martell,
Yes.
Councilman Bouvier,
Yes.
Councilman Scavone.
Yes.
Approved. That's gonna save us some money. Taking advantage of the lower interest rates and refinancing. 642 of 2021, accepts the 2020 audited financial statement from the Rocky Smith LLP for the town of Southampton and authorizes the town clerk to publish notice of 2020 financial report.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. Just on the motion, I just want to thank Controller McCasey and all the people in his department, particularly Dorothy, for the wonderful job they've been doing with the town finances and working with the Audit Advisory Committee. And this is another year where the independent auditors couldn't find a single thing that they could point to that could use improvement, which is really just a remarkable thing. Certainly nothing reportable to the state when, reportable deficiency, but beyond that, there was nothing that they found that we could be doing a better job with, which is really, is really testament to the good job that that office is doing. So, and of course, as town supervisor, who works pretty closely with it, it's certainly my pleasure, to be able to work with such talented people, and to be able to, get a report that really validates the good work that they're doing is so important. And we see it obviously with the low interest rates we're seeing on our bonds. We see it with our, stellar credit rating, which you can't get any better. And, the stable tax base that we have in terms of being able to keep taxes as low as we can. So, once again, thank you to Controller Marchese. So, there was a
Like on the
motion.
motion,
Yeah,
just
sure.
the fact that we have an internal auditor that works with our external auditors, that we have our own mechanisms in place for financial stability and oversight. So that has been a great addition to the controller's office and the good work that they do. So thank you to them.
We have a lot of checks and balances in place. It really is a model for how public funds ought to be managed. So. Okay, we have motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 643 of 2021 accepts the December 31st, 2020 Community Preservation Fund audit from Cullen and Danowski LLP for the town of Southampton, and authorizes the town clerk to publish notice of the Community Preservation Fund financial statements and independent auditors report.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. This is a separate audit, different auditors pertaining to the Community Preservation Fund, which, by the way, is as big as the town's general fund now. So it's really important. They're also a very strong audit in favor of the town's practices. So proud of the work that Lisa Combrick is doing there, and the town attorney's office and the controller's office. It's a very active office, obviously. It's really sort of extraordinary. Jim, I know you've been involved with real estate law and at the county level and at the state level. We have a really active real estate operation here where we're acquiring lands almost every week.
Yes.
And, I'm I feel like I'm perpetually reviewing contracts. To purchase land, that's good. We're preserving our heritage, we're preserving our open spaces, and protecting our waterways, historic buildings, creating access to public places. It's a great program. But there's a lot of behind the scenes work that happened to make that happen. So, all those folks deserve credit when you get such a strong report.
Yeah, well, I'll just throw in a great thank you to Senator Field for setting up that CPF. Since its inception in town Southampton, we've been up to 5,000 acres preserved land.
Yeah.
And it's quite an accomplishment.
The public overwhelmingly supports land preservation. CPF, or whether it was the county bonds, supervisor was involved in years ago. Anytime you put that type of vote before the public, they overwhelmingly support it.
Yeah.
I was involved in government before we had a CPF.
Yeah, sure.
And, a lot of the focus was on zoning tools, like when somebody did a subdivision, maybe you'd have a reserved area, or when farmland was, carved up, there'd be a section that was farmed. That was basically as good as you could get.
Yeah.
Those were the tools that you had. They didn't have the money to actually acquire the woods or the development rights off the farmland. It would have broken the budget of these towns, and it was tough. So they worked with the tools that they had. And when CPF came along, it was a game changer. And I would say, I had the pleasure in East Hampton as supervisor for 4 years, stewarding the CPF dollars there, and we acquired an awful lot of parcels and preserved a lot of places that would have been developed had it not been for those funds. But I have to check this number, but Southampton Town has got to be getting close to $1 billion in total CPF revenue. It's really just incredible
Over its
engine over its lifetime, since basically 1999, somewhere during the middle or late end of that year it kicked in. So over those really 21 years, I believe the number is close to $1 billion. The fund for the 5 East End towns already has broken cumulatively $1 billion.
Yeah.
But Southampton is getting close to that point, and that is now honestly, the lands that we've preserved, in today's dollars, who knows?
Yeah.
You know, we bought a lot of them at a time before the things rapidly accelerated. It's a good thing.
Yes.
So,
And now since, since the referendum was passed for the water quality percent, the use of the 20%, we've done an awful lot as well.
Yes.
So, and I think that also passed with the same kind of numbers, Jim, that you were referring to,
Yeah.
it's close to 80%.
Yeah.
So that, and we've done a lot with that.
yeah.
We're very fortunate.
And not just, I mean, Assemblyman Thiel really led the effort. Senator Laval was very involved.
That's true.
Kevin McDonald, who you may know, who chairs our CAC
I know him
in
well.
Hampton Bays, worked at the Nature Conservancy and was a major advocate as
Yeah,
well.
that's great.
And others too. Many people lobbied hard for the creation of the CPF, but the public voted it in overwhelmingly. I think 70% taxed themselves to create this fund, and it's been really a tremendous tool for preservation.
Yeah, prior to that was what, the county would have the 1/4% sales tax, the quarter penny of, 1/4 of 1 penny, and in the 90s, when I was at the county, we were the ones who had the money, and then we would, and the
That
towns would
sure
all come
changed.
asking for us and try to leverage with us, and now it's particularly Southampton and East Hampton towns have the money to do what they need to do here.
Yeah, we take in a month, sometimes what the county has for a year to spend.
Yeah, we're much more active.
And when I was a legislator, it was really challenging to ask for county funds, because they'd all go, you have more in Southampton than we have for the whole county. They're like, leave us alone.
Yeah, even just the sheer value of the properties out here, we do.
Yeah,
The development rights somewhere in Brookhaven for 10,000 an acre, and here at the time was 60 or 70,000. And the Western legislators couldn't believe those kind of numbers back then at 60,000 an acre for development rights. Now it's 10 times that or more.
so so we're still sort of on the motion. I don't know if we had the vote accepting that audited report.
I'll second
Yeah.
that, Tommy John.
All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. So we are now moving on to 644. 2021 accepts donations for Southampton Town Police Department. We have 2 very generous donations, one for $12,500 and one for $10,000. One is from MG Rubin, $12,500, and then Howard and Jennifer Michaels Family Foundation of $10,000 for public safety purposes. And when somebody donates, we record it in this way. So I'll make a motion to accept the donation. Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, liaison for the police department. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 645 of 2021 amends the 2021 adopted budget for code enforcement.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 646 of 2021 amends the 2021 adopted budget for Hamlet beautification.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 647 of 21 amends the 2021 to 2025 capital budget for Damascus landfill.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 648 of 21 amends the 21 to 25 capital budget for Hampton Bays Sewer District implementation study.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 649 of 2021, authorize supervisor to sign statement of annual financial and operating information and file with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We do this every year.
Second.
State requirement. Federal requirement. Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 650 of 2021, authorized transfer from town police restricted account. Seconded by Councilman Scavone, it's moving $5,610 in donated money to an account that will allow them, I believe, to purchase an additional drone, I think is what they're intending to do with this money. That's for the police department. Seconded by Councilman Scavone. I did get to watch a demonstration at Mission Beach earlier this week. The chief was out there on the first day of summer talking about boater safety, but also swimming safety, and a tool they have for distressed swimmers is they have this ability to move there's a drone that they can talk to somebody with. They demonstrated that as a speaker on it, but they also demonstrated a drone that can drop a flotation device that when it hits the water, it immediately blows up, and I think a whole bunch of swimmers, maybe 6 swimmers or so, can grab onto it.
That's amazing. That's a game changer.
Which could really help, particularly like in a boater safety type of thing, where they can get out there really quick. And it was a little windy. It didn't seem to interfere at all with the drone. What was really amazing, and all the drone operators they go through like a pilot's course. So, but they literally dropped this thing right in front of the swimmer, and it blew right up. Like I thought, like in the wind, like how do you figure? They must have practiced a lot. And we had all the cameras on. It was the perfect pass, basically.
Amazing.
Yeah, perfectly executed, dropped right in front of the swimmer. And, it's a technology that could really save lives.
Absolutely.
Okay, with that, we had a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, 651 of 2021 appoints Councilman Tommy John Scavone to the Suffolk County Progreski Airport Community Advisory Board.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Thank you, Tommy John, for stepping up on this. We're gonna have a good advocate. This is a county board. And we have 2 airports, obviously, we're concerned about airport noise, not just East Hampton, we hear about all the time, but also Progreski. And they're setting up a community board, and Tommy John will be our liaison, so.
16 members.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Approved. John, you're next.
652 was taken out of order,
Yes, you're correct.
and I
All right, 653 is on the bottom of page 41. Authorized community preservation fund tax refund pursuant to the first-time home buyer's exemption for Douglas J. McKenna. Second by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor? Aye, approved. 654 of 2021, it's co-sponsored with Councilman Bouvier. Resolution authorizing the supervisor to submit a grant application to the Justice Department for a body worn camera program to be implemented by the Southampton Town Police Department. Second by Councilman Bouvier. These are body cameras people are familiar with. We are, working with PBA, as you know, to try to implement the program beginning next year if we're successful. And this would provide some significant grant money toward that program.
There's actually a great article in the Riverhead Times, or whatever they forget,
News review.
News review, right.
With Dr. Banks, our chairman of the Invite Task Force, and the chief of police in Riverhead. They're moving forward and want to move forward.
Yeah, good, that's great. This is like a 1-to-1 match, so it effectively will cut the program costs in half. All right, so we had a motion and a second. John, you seconded?
John Bouvier.
Seconded, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-655, authorize waiver of senior services shuttle bus fees for the Southampton Village 4th of July Parade.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
This is the 4th of July parade is on the 5th.
I don't know what day it's on, but
Yeah,
it's the
it's on
4th
the
of July
5th.
Parade.
Says
Oh, it
Monday,
does,
July
okay.
5th.
There you go. Yes,
First
John.
three
I was a
areas.
little confused.
Yes, it is on the
Not show
fifth.
up on the fourth.
Yes.
Be very long.
Thank you, Sunday.
We had a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'd say it's nice to see the parade
Yeah.
come back, I will be there. I guess it's a sign that things are getting a little better with the pandemic. The numbers are certainly decreasing, and I think we could all use a parade, so.
It's
Come out and-
Monday, so.
Come out and wave the American flag and be part of the 4th of July Independence Day celebrations. Okay, so that was approved, 656 of 2021, accepts the resignation of a laborer in waste management. Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 657 of 2021, accepts the retirement of Diana Weir, Director of Housing in Housing and Community Services.
Sadly, second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. On the motion, Diana, I knew when she joined us, she was gonna do a great job. I told all of you guys, because I knew her. I knew exactly the caliber of person that she was, how hardworking she was. And she has not only met all those expectations, but exceeded them. She has been a great department head for the town. She's furthered our causes for affordable housing. Did a great job through the pandemic, working with youth and senior services. Worked with the entire community on developing a housing plan. Is leaving very detailed notes about how to do everything from CDBG grants, to fire benefit units, and like she has earned her retirement. I've known Diana a long time. We served together on the Southampton Town Board, and I'm gonna miss her. I will. All of us will. We wish her the best in a well-deserved retirement. I'm certainly gonna vote to accept her retirement, but it is a little bittersweet.
What would happen if we said no?
She wouldn't get the payout, which isn't too
I
much.
suspect she'll be running the state of South Carolina within a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can't really say no, but we can say thank you.
We can, and great thanks.
So, anyone else on it?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Ware. True professional, she really advanced the programs through CDBG money and getting some people into homes and really laying a great foundation for the next person to come. True professional, really good.
Yeah, she knew her stuff, and I hope that I absorbed even just a small part of what she has in her brain. Amazing.
I remember some of those meetings with Diane already, her and Karen sitting there, and we went through stuff in a lot of detail. It was always, I actually look forward to those.
She's one of those people you only have to ask once,
Feel
and
that.
it gets done. You don't have to go back and say, what happened to this,
I may say, I've known Diana Weir for many years, maybe not as long as you, Jay, but she's an absolutely amazing woman that had just a tremendous amount of knowledge that she's accumulated over all of her time working with many different people and government entities. And we were very fortunate to have her come here to the town of Southampton and share some of that knowledge with us and make us a better place as well. So I'm grateful that she did land here and ended her career here in New York with us.
We have her for 3 more weeks or so.
Yes.
So,
Take her out to lunch.
but if Diana, if you're watching at home, thank you for all you've done for the town. All right, so we had a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 658 of 2021, accepts retirement of Wanda Asmude, senior account clerk in Justice Court. Second, I don't know Wanda the way I know Diana. We certainly appreciate her service to the town. And we wish her the best in her retirement. I know she's been with us for quite some time as well. So that'll be a loss over there in the Justice Court. But certainly on behalf of the town, thank you for your service, Wanda, and we wish you the best in your retirement. You have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. All right, moving on to 659, it's another retirement, 659 of 2021. It accepts the retirement of Razna Lepkowski. She's a senior office assistant in Justice Court.
Second.
So the first one was a senior account clerk, this is a senior office assistant, seconded by Councilman Martell. Again, we thank Razna for her service and wish her the best in her retirement. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Approved. One more retirement to go. This is 660 of 2021, accepting the retirement of Nancy Lynett, Youth Services Coordinator in Youth Services. Second.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad, who's a liaison to Youth Services. And Nancy's worked for the town for a long time as well. She certainly deserves a retirement. She's been very active with the youth of our community, trying to reach out to at-risk kids and provide them with healthy activities. And I know has touched a lot of people through her years of service here. She's another person that will be sorely missed. We've seen her many times here presenting to us, but we also have seen her out in the field. It's the many programs that she's been involved in organizing. So we thank you, Nancy, as well, for all of your years of service. We will miss you. We really appreciate everything you've done, and we wish you the very best in your retirement. Anyone else on Nancy? Do you want to say one?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank her for her passion for the youth of our town. She always was involved and, really involved in what was going on, not just saying, okay, let's do this and let's do that. She was always there in the middle, whether it was a Flanders basketball game or youth court. So we're going to miss her.
I think she really loved what she did.
Yeah.
She really enjoyed it. Anyone else?
Yeah, just Nancy, I got to know Nancy when we were starting to design the upcoming West Hampton Community Center. And she and Liz Dwyer gave a lot of input, and I was very impressed with Nancy and her way of doing things, and also her excitement in youth court was kind of infectious. So she'll be missed, and I just want to personally thank her for everything she did.
And I'd like to say thank you as well. 20 years ago, when I started in the Parks Department, Nancy and I used to work together coordinating youth and parks programs, and we had children the same age, and I used to sit on that youth board for a while, and just enjoyed working with her. But she started so many terrific programs that will carry on the Battle of the Bands, and she was hands-on all the time. And those programs are what they are because of the time and the effort that she put into it. So I wish her well, and thank her for all of the work that she did as well for our youth in the community.
And I'd like to say a few words as well. Got to work with Nancy through Youth in Government and a number of other projects as well. And the passion comes through. She likes working with kids. It's good for the community. And it's our loss, her retirement, but we wish her well. We're sorry to see her go, but, happy to see her go on. So congratulations on your retirement. Well deserved.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 661 of 2021 appoints Brandon Drummond to technical support representative position in information technology.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved, congratulations to Brandon. 662 of 2021 appoints David Lipman to maintenance mechanic 1 in CRU.
Second?
Second by Councilman Lobstead, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved, congratulations to David.
Town Board Resolution 2021-663, a notice of public hearing to consider accepting a grant of open space in connection with the subdivision map of Seacliff Cove Estates in Eastport.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, that hearing will be July 13th
At 1.
at 1 o'clock. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-664, accept a grant of conservation easement from Joseph F. Gaza for property to be maintained as open space per Suffolk Town tax map as indicated, located in Quiog, pursuant to Southampton Town Code, Chapter 244-4, obtaining development rights certificate, and Chapter 247, General Municipal Law of the State of New York.
Second?
Second, is this the one we heard
Yes.
earlier?
Yep.
We had the public hearing earlier. 1.83 development rights.
Yeah, I checked it again.
Okay, so Councilman Lobstead seconded, any discussion? Okay, I'll call the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2021-665, road review application for BWIN, BT Corporation, Suffolk County tax map as indicated, situated in Hampton Bays is accepted.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
That's the last.
approved, that's, now we're going to the walk-ons. So the first is 36838, accepts the resignation of a contracts technician in the controller's office.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lobstadt, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 36850 is warrant number 12, capital number 12, CPF number 12, and payroll liability. Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution ID 36858, authorize supervisor to execute a donation agreement for tick spraying at Foster Avenue Park in Hampton Bays.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lobstadt. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Okay, so with that, the other one we did earlier, so that's the last of the resolutions. Is there any other business? Any other announcements? Work session is gonna be Thursday, we're gonna come back in person with this work session. Oh,
We have a special
We-
meeting.
that's the same time as the
That's what-
funeral. 10 o'clock. Dennis, are we gonna try to reschedule that work session? We'll be able to
Special meeting.
The day before, tomorrow.
have a special meeting tomorrow too.
Thursday.
Is the funeral is, it's almost,
Thursday, this Thursday.
funeral is Thursday and work session is Thursday.
But there's also
A special meeting,
on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, right?
so you will obviously, will
So
not
you
be
won't
on
be
the work
Wednesday.
session.
I will not be at work session, my apologies to the
But
board.
I won't be able to attend the funeral. My apologies.
I understand.
I-
It happens when it happens.
Understood, well, with your spirit. Yeah, if we can talk, Janice, maybe tomorrow, if we can delay the work session. We have the special meeting as well.
Well, I will see Wednesday.
Yes,
I have to check with them.
I will see Wednesday too, as a way. Okay,
The town attorney's office, we can do a renotice of the special meeting. Work session, it would not be a problem. It's renoticing the special meeting.
Yeah, there was one issue, maybe talk with Frank, because I wasn't sure, there was a time constraint on issuances of
yeah, I don't know we're gonna be able to delay it. If there's adequate public notice to do it. We can talk tomorrow, but, my apologies if we're not able to come down.
I certainly understand and appreciate the actions.
Okay,
We can, we will.
all right, any other business? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.